So today I'm finally tackling a problem that I've been seeing a lot, where we're trying to find a way to synchronize two projectors for our digital displays or projection mapping. And so where I see this most common is someone has a house that's so big that they can't get complete coverage and still have enough brightness and resolution that they want. So they have to have two projectors to get the coverage. But as of now, there's not a super simple way of synchronizing the two projectors, to have one show that matches and is seamless and synchronized across the two projectors. The way a lot of people are solving that problem right now is with like a Falcon player, and I haven't tried that, but from what I understand, it requires some light coding, some light technical skills. And one of the things I'm trying to find creative solutions for on this channel is less technical ways, more simple ways if possible. And with the caveat that this is such a new way of decorating that everything's going to be a little tricky while we're all figuring it out, and while the technology and innovations catch up to try to make it easier for all of us. With all that being said, I've got a couple different ways of synchronizing shows that I wanted to test out. And because it's still too cold here in Utah to go outside and do this on my house, we're going to do small scale in here with these little pumpkins. So what I have set up here today is two projectors, and then I've got my jack-o'-lanterns over there, and we'll try to see this. We'll test out this first method and see if it'll work. Okay, so just as a side note, these projectors that I'm using, this one is branded as a Halloween projector. It comes preloaded with some spectral illusions effects, and I did a review on that, I think it was last November, and so I'll put a link in the description for that as well. But it's a pretty handy small projector for this kind of application. And if I cover up this one, it's still pretty bright even in the daytime. So that one I have a review on. The other one that I still want to do a review on is the same company, Axa Technology, is the P6X. And both of these, for their specs, are really bright. They're very portable. You can see how small this is. They have speakers built in, you can play it off USB, all that good stuff. And one of the cool things with each of these is, if I unplug the power here, they run on battery, which is so cool. This will last about 4 hours on battery, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to use those for our test, these two projectors. And just as another side note, I'm going to do a video on some ways we can do projection mapping on a budget, cheaper ways we can do projection mapping since it's so expensive. And one of those would be using something like this. Okay, so that's the projector we're going to use. And our first method for trying to synchronize a show that we're going to try is using a media, or using a small mini PC. So I've got this mini computer that I got on Amazon, and I can pull up the specs here. It is a B-Link mini PC, and so it's pretty basic. Like, it's just a Windows computer. You can see the Windows desktop there on my pumpkins right now. And it's, on one hand, it's kind of overkill to use a PC for what we're trying to do. But what caught my eye is the price. It can be difficult to find a media player that will play our shows on our house. One of the more popular and more reliable players is the Sprite media player. It's a really good one. Some of the micas that people have used that are advertised up here, I've had audio issues with 2 or 3 of them, and so usually I recommend people just spend the 124 on this because it'll play it. But you'll notice that that's not much less than a full-on computer. And what's nice about a computer is you can do about anything on it, right? So I thought I'd try it out. It's not much more than a Sprite player. It's still nice and portable, and kind of the key thing here is that it has 2 HDMI outputs, so we can have the 2 projectors. So that checks some of the boxes on how to get a synchronized show. This is what we're going to be testing, and we'll see how it goes. One big con to using a mini PC is I have to have a mouse and I have to have a keyboard. And so if I'm going out every night to put my projectors out and I have to bring a keyboard and mouse with me, it's just another thing I have to bring out there. That's the big con. But I might have enough pros, we'll see. Okay, so we're going to try this out. Now, the way I'm gonna try it is on digitalpressworks.com. There's that free tool that a lot of us use. So once again, thank you, Matt, for providing that for us to use. I'm going to use that for this test case, and then I'll take those images and put them into After Effects to create the mini show, and then we'll figure out how to play them on both projectors at the same time. And so I'm going to go ahead and draw some quick outlines here on these pumpkins. But first, before I do that, I think what I'll do, I think I'm going to do just one projector at a time. I mean, since this is just a computer, you can go into the display settings and you can specify just one at a time, but let's just do it this way so we're explicit. I'm going to make sure the pumpkins are covered. And this is the other challenge, is finding what you want when you don't have a nice smooth flat surface. But here's the mapping tool from Digital Pressworks. Let's draw the shapes of these pumpkins. And I'm not going to be worrying about accuracy, because all I'm putting on here is a face. I don't have to worry about the edges being perfect. I just need a general idea of where the faces are going to go. Okay, so those are the 4 pumpkins I'm going to do for this first projector. But wait a second, I thought there's only options for 1 or 3 in Atmos Effects. We'll be able to change that in After Effects pretty easily, won't we? And since this is the brighter of the 2 projectors, I'm going to have 4 pumpkins covered by it, and then 2 on the smaller one. So I've got my first map done. Right click on this, save it. Left pumpkins. I'm on the wrong keyboard. Left pumpkins map. Cool. Alright. Do you want to plug this one back into that small projector? We're going to do the same thing now on the other projector. Save as. Right. Pumpkin map. Alright, so next step, I'm just going to send that file over into After Effects, so I'll see you over in Adobe. And then we're going to come back over here when we try to play the 2 files. And spoiler alert, the way I'm going to try to synchronize the 2 video files is with VLC Player. It's a common player that I've been using for a long time that runs on anything, plays anything, and it's got some features to be able to kick off 2 videos at the same time. So theoretically, as long as we keep our 2 compositions synced, the 2 different video files synced exactly, then when we kick them off the same, we shouldn't have any of that drift with one video slowly over time outpacing the other and ending up not synchronized. They should be able to kick off at the same time and keep pace as long as we keep the videos the same. So we will see you in After Effects. Okay, so now we're in Adobe After Effects, and I have my 2 maps that I drew over here. So we'll drag them both into our project. That's the left side pumpkins, and here's the right side pumpkins. Very crude, of course. And I want to match, both of these projectors are different resolutions too. And so I'm going to create 2 different compositions that will match the resolution of the projector. So the easiest way I found to do that is to click on this and drag it down to this composition icon, and then it'll automatically create it with the right settings. So this is 1280 by 720. And here I have my first map. And so that will create one composition for that left side, and then we'll do the same thing over here on the right side. And its settings, oh, it's got the same resolution actually. Cool. And I don't know how long we're going to do these yet, but this duration is going to be important to keep the same. 2 minutes 50, 29. 2 minutes 50, 29. So maybe I just don't touch that. Maybe I'll just accept that default for this test because we're going to want these to be exactly synchronized. All right, so let's find some jack-o'-lanterns in my collection. All right, I got a few different jack-o'-lantern files in here. Some of the Atmos effects ones from Jack-o'-lantern Jamboree 2. And then, because we're on a pirate kick this year, I've also got some from piratepumpkins.com too. All right, so let's start with the Atmos ones. We'll have maybe these 4 be Atmos ones, and then the pirates be the ones on the end, and you can trade off singing regular songs and pirate songs. So I'm going to drag this down. Composition. Invert black and white. Okay, which face do I want where? And I think what I'll do is create a version of these. All right, I think I'm going to put this big guy right here. That a little more so I can see that's lined up pretty good. To the master now. So it's just quick and dirty because the goal of this is really just to test synchronization. So now, one thing is we're not going to want singing yet, because what I'm going to do for this test is the Atmos guys take a turn, and then the third. So at least initially, it's not going to be. So to do that, quick and dirty to do that, I'm going to right click on this and go to time. It won't flicker. If I had more time to make it flicker still, or find a buffer file or something. But for right now, keeping them static. So as we have it now, we'll play this, then we'll have that. Doing their thing. Okay, so let's have them sing for about a minute. All right, we'll just say that they stop at 1 minute. Oh, that's a little too far. Yeah, I can have a buffer between the two and it'll probably still work. So we will stop it there. Okay. I want to put this into a pre-composition. Jack centers. And then to have them stop right here so that the other ones can start, it's probably a better way of doing this, but I'm going to try doing it this way. I'm going to make a copy of it. This one, I'm going to stop right there. This one I'm going to start right there and freeze frame. So that way, see, and then they stop. And I know that's an abrupt stop, but we're not going for smooth transitions. We're just testing. All right, so about a minute is when we want, maybe we'll do a little buffer here. So about a minute and a half, we'll have pirates start in. So let's go over to the pirate ones. So that works. Okay. Let's put these guys where. Okay. Got those guys. And put them into a pre-comp as well. We have one of them that has it just frozen. At about a minute. What did we do over here? 1 minute. So with a little bit of a buffer, about 1:05. That one end here. This one will start here. So we'll go like this. All right. Now, hard part. We'd like this guy to sing along with him too. So how can we kick him off at just the right time? We're gonna have to get a little precise. Zoom in here so I can get right down to sub-second, hopefully 1:05:08. Probably some shortcuts to make this easier, but I don't know what they are. So. All right, so we got this guy till 1:05. Right? 1:05:08, 1:05:08. Start here and we'll give that time revamp. Okay, so theoretically, that one should start at the same time as this one. All right, that might be good enough for us to render both of these out, and then we'll see if they play together in VLC Player, and then we'll throw them on the projectors. So I'll pause this while I render. All right, so we've got the two files there. So now we could play either one of them and it'll play our little show, but we want them to start at the exact same time and loop. And so, as I mentioned before, VLC Player, where you can get it at videoland.org. And I'll put the links for all this in the description too, but this player plays on everything, plays almost any format you can find, and runs on almost any platform. And it's got some cool features. So using this, you can play two videos at the same time. There's even some other synchronized things that supposedly you could do, but I wasn't able to get that to work with the latest version. So we're just going to do it manually. Got our two video files here, and if we just click on both of them and play with VLC Player, two instances of the player. And let's see if it worked. Let's see if they're going to go at the same time. All right, Atmos Pumpkins, get ready to zip it. Right on cue. And then our pirate. Not bad. The one on the left might be just slightly off. It's pretty close. All right, well, let's switch to the jack-o'-lanterns and see how it looks. All right, so now we've got our videos here on the mini computer. And so on VLC player, we're just going to select both of them, right-click, and then we'll play. Now, then after it plays, then we need to move each window over to the right display, to the right projector, and to make it full screen. So there's still that little step, but here we go. Let's see if it works. Okay, let's move the board, and we'll put this one on the left projector. We'll move on up. I left my map in there too. Okay, now our other window.
It lays in ruin, run down and overgrown. But to goblins and ghosts, it's one haunted sweet home. Welcome to our haunted house. Step right in, don't loiter about. The ghosts are dying to give you a tour down every dank and dark corridor. The shadows whisper and the floorboards scream.
Always in our videos, huh?
We're outward bound for
I paused the right one and the left one's still going. So that worked. So as you can tell, there's a lot of little steps that you have to do to get it just right. But it worked. Like there was no special hardware other than the player, the projectors, and no special software, just a VLC player that allows you to do 2 videos at the exact same time, and no special technical skills or coding. So it did work. So as kind of a summary, the pros, I think, is that it's no coding and that you can do it without any special expertise and with tools you mostly have, and a player that's mostly affordable. It's not much more than the Sprite player. The cons are there's still a lot of little moving parts that you have to get just right. And you have to have a keyboard and mouse when you go put your player out every night. So maybe if you wanted to go this route, you could build your enclosure, you could have a keyboard and mouse in there, and then you won't have to carry it out every time. So that's kind of the pros and cons. I'd like to try this running for a few hours and make sure it works, but I think it should work. I don't see any problems with having to be in sync now because VLC player handles it. And there's our cat again. You know, how many videos do we have that don't have cats in them? That's a short list.
Probably all the tutorials.
Yeah, all the tutorials. And then as a side note too, you notice that the video only played once, but that's just a setting in VLC Player 2 to have a loop. So yes, this should work without any special equipment. One last thing to cover, I thought I'd just show you which mini PC I got and what the specs are. So this is the Sprite player that a lot of people are using, and this is the mini computer. Okay, so it was 143 V-Link brand. I'll put the link in the description. The specs are, I got the minimal specs. If I use this, then I'm not going to put a whole bunch of stuff, a bunch of apps on this. I didn't even put Chrome. I'm taking just Edge as the browser and VLC player on there, and then I'm just going to run the video files to try to keep it lean, because even with it coming out of the box, it's not a very fast computer. It's pretty slow, which is what it makes me laugh when I see that this is used for gaming, because it wouldn't do very well with gaming. But you can, if you want to put a little more money into it, you can get, yeah, so the RAM's 8 gigs. So you can get a little more space and a little more RAM if you throw a little more money at it. Okay, so that's the mini computer, and the projectors I was using is the HP1 Halloween projector by AXA Technology. You can get that on Amazon for $159, and it comes with Spectral Illusions effects. And you can see our review on that on our channel. And in that review, we do kind of a side-by-side of comparable projectors, comparable in size and specs. And even in this screen, you can see how much more clear and how bright it was for its size. And then the slightly bigger projector we're using is the other AXA P6X. It's 1,000 lumens. So that's it. That's option number 1 for synchronizing your projector. Now, the next video I'm going to do is I'm going to try it with Luxido. Luxido has, with their new software, the ability to add projectors that are not theirs, any projector you want to. And then of those projectors, you can synchronize it within their software. And so I'm going to try that next, and we'll see which one. My hunch is that one's going to be simpler to do. And so we'll try that out as well, and we'll be able to see.